It was just after midnight when Ryan Caldwell stepped out of his luxury condo in downtown Chicago, wrapped in a sleek wool coat, trying to escape the burden of another hollow business gala. He had everything: private jets, high-rises, stocks, and political connections, but none of it made him feel alive anymore. The sound of laughter and crystal glasses still echoed in his ears, yet all he felt was emptiness. His driver had parked the Bentley near the back alley, and as he took a shortcut through it, something stopped him. A dim flickering bulb hung above a narrow basement window, casting just enough light for him to see someone inside. A girl. No older than 18 or 19, hunched over a battered sewing machine. Her hands moved with frantic desperation, the fabric trembling beneath the needle. The air was cold, her sweater threadbare, and her eyes, though focused, were red from fatigue. She hadn't noticed him watching. Ryan crouched, drawn to the scene like a moth to a flame. The girl wiped her forehead, looked at the small clock on the wall, and whispered to herself, "Only 4 more. I can do 4 more." He didn't know why he stayed. Something about her haunted him, perhaps the way her frail fingers worked like warriors, or how her lips trembled in quiet prayer. Maybe it was because she reminded him of his mother, back when they lived in a cramped trailer, before money erased his past. He didn't sleep that night. The next morning, Ryan skipped his meetings. Instead, he walked back to the alley and waited. Around noon, the basement door creaked open, and the girl emerged with a bundle of clothes tied together with string. She looked even smaller in the daylight, skin pale, hair tied in a messy braid, and sneakers with the soles coming off. He followed her from a distance, past cafes, boutiques, and designer storefronts, until she entered a rundown laundromat. He hesitated before entering. She was speaking to the laundromat owner, an older woman named Marisol, who nodded sympathetically as she handed the girl a few crumpled bills. "That's all I can do this week, Rosa," Marisol said, her voice tinged with guilt. "People don't get their clothes fixed anymore. They just buy new ones." "It's okay," Rosa replied softly. "This will help cover part of the rent. I'll figure out the rest." Ryan stepped outside, feeling something shift inside him. He started researching. It didn't take long. Rosa Delgado. 19. Her parents died in a car crash 3 years ago. No siblings. No college. No safety net. She worked odd jobs, mostly sewing or cleaning, and lived in the basement of a closed bookstore her father once ran. She barely scraped by, yet never begged, never stole. Just kept working. The following evening, he returned again. She was back at her machine, eyes heavy but determined. The sound of the needle became a rhythm, like a heartbeat of someone refusing to give up. That night, Ryan called his assistant, Karen. "I want you to create a new foundation. Anonymous. Something to support young adults like her, those working hard but still falling through the cracks." Karen was stunned. "Sir, is there a specific?" "Just do it," he replied. "And I want to help her." Quietly. He began small. A call to the building owner cleared Rosa's rent. A large clothing order placed through Marisol's laundromat, supposedly from a local theater group, gave Rosa work for weeks. Then he had groceries delivered weekly to the store basement, labeled as community donations. Rosa never knew where they came from. She just kept working, slowly growing healthier, stronger. But Ryan wasn't content. He found himself watching from a distance, wanting to talk to her, to tell her she mattered. Yet something held him back, maybe guilt, or fear of ruining the purity of her world with his presence. Then came the storm. One night, heavy snow buried the streets. Ryan had just returned from New York when he received a call from Karen. "Sir. I think you should know, there's been a fire near Westbrook Avenue." His heart dropped. That was where the old bookstore stood. He arrived minutes later. Flames had gutted the lower floors, smoke curling into the icy air. Firefighters were finishing their work. Ryan scanned the crowd desperately until he saw her, Rosa, wrapped in a blanket, shivering on the curb. Her sewing machine, blackened and broken, lay beside her. She wasn't crying. Just staring into the flames with empty eyes. He couldn't stand it anymore. He walked up to her, heart racing. "Are you okay?" he asked gently. She looked up, startled. I think so. I didn't have insurance. Everything's gone." "I know," he said quietly. "I'm sorry." She didn't recognize him. Of course she didn't. To her, he was just another stranger. But to him, she had become everything. A symbol of resilience, of grace under fire, of all the goodness he thought he'd lost in the world of suits and numbers. "Come with me," he said. "I can't. I don't even know you." "You don't have to trust me," he said. "Just let me help." She hesitated, but something in his voice made her stand. Maybe it was the exhaustion, or maybe she was just too tired to fight anymore. He took her to a small guest house on his property, warm, clean, safe. She protested, of course, but he assured her it was temporary. She could leave any time. In the days that followed, Rosa stayed in the guest house but remained distant. She asked for nothing. Instead, she helped around the home, cooked meals, even offered to sew curtains that had a small tear. Ryan watched her from afar, trying not to overstep. But one evening, as snowflakes painted the windows, she asked him a question that caught him off guard. "Why are you doing this for me?" He paused, the words catching in his throat. "Because I see someone in you I wish I'd never lost." She blinked, unsure what he meant. He continued, "You reminded me of who I was before the money. Before everything got complicated. You fight for your dignity. You work with grace. And you do it without bitterness." Tears welled in her eyes. "No one's ever said anything like that to me. You deserve to hear it." Weeks turned into months. With Ryan's quiet support, Rosa launched a small online business selling handmade clothing. Her story, told anonymously by a blogger who'd happened to hear about it, thanks to Karen, went viral. Orders poured in from all over the country. Then one spring morning, Ryan handed her an envelope. "What's this?" she asked. "Open it." Inside was a deed. Her name printed in bold letters. "You bought me a house," she gasped. "No," he said. "You earned it. It's the least I could do." "But why me?" she whispered. He smiled, finally allowing himself to be vulnerable. "Because you reminded me that money doesn't make a man rich. Compassion does." She couldn't stop the tears this time. In the years that followed, Rosa's business bloomed. She created a nonprofit to teach sewing and entrepreneurship to underprivileged girls. Ryan remained a mentor, always in the background, always proud. They kept in touch, occasionally sharing coffee and updates. And though he never asked for recognition, the day she was invited to speak at a national women's conference, Rosa introduced him by name. "This man didn't just help me. He saw me when no one else did. And in doing so, he taught me that the greatest kind of wealth is kindness." The auditorium erupted in applause. Ryan, seated in the front row, wiped a tear from his cheek. He had built empires, but helping that one girl rebuild her life was the richest thing he'd ever done. Moral of the story: true wealth isn't measured in dollars, it's measured in the lives we touch. One small act of compassion can ripple into something much greater. Sometimes, the most broken moments lead to the most beautiful beginnings.